Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying for Beginners. Today we're going to tie a Martinez Prince Nymph. The hook I have in the vise is a 2 extra long. This is a size 12, and I have a 3mm silver bead on there. I'm going to add a little extra weight on there. I'm going to put 15 thousandths lead wire on, and I don't have very much left. But I'm going to start at the point of the hook and go forward. I want to get a good amount of weight on this. Make sure that it gets down to the bottom quickly. I wasn't counting, but there's got to be probably 20 wraps on there. Break away the back section. Going to use black thread, 70 denier. This is UTC. You could use a stronger thread if you want. I'm going to start the thread behind the eye, and I'm pushing the lead wraps into the bead. We're going to go ahead and secure the bead, or secure the lead wraps. Bring it back, and we're going to bring this back to where it would hang at the barb. I'm going to start out with the tail. I'm going to use a guinea bird hackle fibers. And I'm going to take about only 6 or 8 of them. They make a pretty wide tail. They're pretty thick barbels on these feathers. We're going to make that about 3/4 the distance of the hook shank. I'm going to tie it in right behind the white spot. And go ahead and secure the remainder. No cutting necessary, that's nice. Bring the thread back. For the rib, I have a copper. This is a reddish copper, and this is a heavy fine or a light medium wire. This came off a clock, this wire. We're going to go ahead and secure that. Now I'm going to use black opossum for the hackle, and we don't need a thick noodle, but we do need it rather long. We want to cover about 2/3 of the hook shank. I have about 5 or 6 inches of a noodle here. Go ahead and wrap that. And that's good. It's got about 2/3 of the hook shank. We're going to take our rib and palmer that forward. Four or 5 wraps, give a nice rib on there. Go ahead and secure this. You could fold that wire back and wrap on top of it, and then helicopter that off. Now we're going to take black chenille. I came up with this idea yesterday when I was making the black Martinez. I like the way the chenille gives you a nice thick thorax. We pulled off the end. We're going to tie that in. We just have the threads there. And I'm get 2 wraps out of this. Once and twice. Even with chenille, you could kind of pull the material to the rear there. Tie that in. And we're going to go ahead and get rid of the excess. Use a cuticle trimmer, what I call the poke and snip. Give that a couple more securing wraps, pull the fuzz out. I'm going to take my partridge hide, and I want a feather, one of the silvery feathers. I'm going to take that and I'm going to get rid of all of that fluff. Just pull all of that off. Now I'm going to take my hackle pliers. I'm going to grab the tip. I'm just going to pull that all back. And now we have a tip for us to tie in. Going to tie this on my side. It rolled over to the side there. We're going to put 5 or 6 wraps on there. We don't want this to break when we go to wrap it. And I'm going to snip off that little bit of excess. Put our hackle pliers on there again. We're going to fold everything to the rear as we go. Oh, slipped off. Get my easy hackle pliers. A little better grip. And we're going to wrap that and remove the tie it down and remove the excess stem. I trim that out of the way. I'm going to hold everything towards the rear and wrap on there. A little bit of that stem there I had to push. And I'm wrapping back a little bit. I'm going to take the hackle, I'm going to move them away from the top. Just kind of push them to the side there to get an open top there. You could even trim a couple of them out of the way. That'll give you some nice distinct legs. Now we're going to take a white goose biot, just fold them and you'll get to the 2. And I'm just going to pull 2 of them off. I'm going to tie them on using that natural curve, and we want fat goose biots for this particular fly, and we're going to make them just the length of the body. When you're finished tying them in, you want to have a crisscross, so take the other, measure that up to the first. And there's our X on top. We're going to pull these up. I'm going to give it a couple of wraps in front. Now we could cut off the tips or the fronts. I'm going to take just a little bit more of the dubbing, make a small noodle. We want just enough to hide the threads. I'm going to take my whip finish, I'm going to make it above the noodle. I'm going to start wrapping. See how I carefully brought that thread down so the dubbing wouldn't pull into a bunch. Tighten that up. We're going to give that, remove that excess, and we're going to give that some head cement. Putting it right on the dubbing, it'll soak right in there. And here we have a Martinez Prince. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Leave comments, questions, suggestions, and most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.